The day the letter came, I couldn't believe it. The pension, the one thing I'd worked 40 years for, was gone. Just like that, gone. It's strange, you know? You think you're doing the right thing, which is chasing your dream, but you end up building up someone else's empire. Does that pay off? You think that sacrifice, hard work, and loyalty will be rewarded, but in the end, it's not the dream that leaves you empty. It's the reality. I was born in the Caribbean. Any country in the Caribbean is a paradise on its own. A place of warmth, where the sun always kissing your skin, the sea a constant companion, the food always fresh and full of flavor. We ate from Mother Earth. It was heaven, the kind of place that other people only dream of. I never had much, but I never wanted anything either. People in my village were all family, living off the land, supporting each other. Life was simple, good, but you still felt limited. So I thought, the world beyond my island was calling. The opportunities seemed endless. I had heard stories of people making it big in colder countries, working hard, sending money back home. I thought, maybe that's my ticket. Maybe that's where I'll build my future. So I left. I left my home, my family, the beaches, the fruit trees that grew freely in my backyard, the fish that swam just off the coast, and everything that I knew. I left it all to pursue what I thought was a dream. When I arrived in the cold country, everything was different. The air was sharp, the people distant. I was freezing my ass off, literally, for the first time in my life. The city was bustling, but it didn't feel like home. The streets were lined with tall buildings, not palm trees. I had to work hard to get by, but work, I did. I worked for a man, an older man who owned a business, a place that brought in goods from my own country. Isn't that ironic? I recognized the produce, my fruits, vegetables, and spices. The business was growing, and so was I, in a way. But not in the way I thought. Years passed, and I built that man's empire. I helped him grow. He sent me on errands, managed the business side, and paid me well. But there was always a part of me that felt like I was working just to build his life, his wealth. I made sacrifices. I spent long hours away from home. I sent money back to my family, sure, to build my house. I felt good about that. But there was always a little voice inside me saying, what about you? I barely saved for myself. I got married with someone wonderful, but not from my country. I accepted the discrimination of her family just to belong. I never took the time to build what I truly wanted. And as I got older, I began to realize the cost of all those years spent working for someone else's dream. I got divorced. The kids stayed with the mother. I had to pay thousands to alimony, so I could not save enough money. Life started going downhill. Eventually, my time came. I was older now. My body had started feeling the wear and tear of all those years in the cold, the hard labor, the exhaustion. I decided it was time to go back home, to the place I had left so many years ago. I returned to my island with nothing but a small pension to my name. My friends and family all changed. They lived their life too. So for me, they had different mentality. They saw me as a foreigner in my own country. The only thing I had in my country was a small house that I built while I was in the cold country and enough land to rebuild. My family were happy to see me in the beginning, but after days, I felt like the outcast. I couldn't help but feel that I had lost something. I had given so much to a foreign country, to people who were not my own. And now, at the end of my life, all I had was a small pension. A pension that was meant to help me live out my golden years. Then, a year later, came the letter. It came from the government of the country I had served for so many years. The letter said that they were cutting my pension off because I was living abroad. They said that since I no longer lived in their country, I no longer deserved their support. They told me that my contributions over the years were not enough to keep my pension intact. I was stunned. It felt like a slap in the face. I had worked so hard, paid so many taxes, given my best years to build a life in that cold, foreign land. And now, when I needed something, when I was supposed to get a little help to live comfortably in my later years, they took it away because I was back in my own country. I felt like a slave again, misused, abused, and now dumped. That was the moment it hit me. I had spent so many years building someone else's dream, working for a country that wasn't even my own, and now it didn't care about me. The cold country I had sacrificed so much for had no room for me anymore. I was making the county rich by paying my taxes with pride. But the warm, vibrant place I had left, my island, hopefully welcomed me back with open arms. So I thought I had everything I needed in my own country. The land, the sea, the food, the people, the warmth. All the things I had taken for granted. All those years, I had looked outward, thinking I needed more. I thought I had to build a life somewhere else to make something of myself. But in the end, I lost so much. The cost was more than I ever imagined. My kids also don't know their other culture. My roots, they were raised coldly. My son will be visiting me soon. To get to know my family, I only hope my daughter might do that too someday. I will pray for that day to come. I'm not saying that you should never leave your country. But sometimes, you have to stop and think, what do you really value? What is worth sacrificing? If I had to do it all over again, I would tell my younger self to stay in my own country and help build it stronger. Just go study abroad, but come back to build your own. The moral of the story is simple. Appreciate what you have. The land, the people, the food, your own country. The things we take for granted are often the things that truly matter. Don't get caught up in chasing someone else's dream. Build your own. Don't forget where you come from, because no matter how far you go, there's no place like home. From a biblical perspective, the Bible says in Philippians chapter 4 verses 11 to 13, I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. I can do all this through Him who gives me strength. Sometimes, we seek to be content with things that don't truly satisfy. True contentment comes from within, and it starts by appreciating what God has already given us. Nature, my opinion. We have to really appreciate what we have. That includes nature of your own country, that some people will fight to have. Appreciate your family and close friends. In the end, they are the ones that are close to you. Of course, you always have to be alert of even those. Enjoy your life. It ends before you know. Soon you are that age that you ask yourself, where did the time went? Stay at peace with yourself. If you've ever experienced something like this, or if you have a different perspective on my story, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this. What do you think? Have you ever left home in search of something better, only to find that home was all you needed? Let me know in the comments. Stay blessed.